y'all? Today, finally gonna post a video again. I kind of forgot I had a YouTube channel, so that's why. And we're gonna do the Minecraft Enchant tier list, because I've been playing that game a lot lately. So let's start. So I don't know I'm bad at making openers, but let's just start with the first thing. There you have the worthless things that have a small niche, like you wouldn't naturally get it, but like it can do something at least. Small niche means though it's not that useful, it has a solid role that it can do in your world. And you can justify using it in very situational areas. There's the really good enchantments. They're pretty good. And then there's just ones that are so good that they change the game. So let's just start the list. Okay, Bane of Arthropods is fucking worthless. Wow. Boosting damage on spiders is so good. It's not like there's only 2 variants in the whole game. And it's not like sharpness could already just one-shot the spider. Wow, what a useful fucking enchant. This is probably the worst enchant in the game. Or at least top 3 for sure. That's not like a curse book. And even then, technically, the curse book actually has a niche. A very stupid, gimmicky niche, but it actually can do something at least. Curse Unbinding basically locks your armor into one place. Once you equip it, you can't take it out. That's why it's called a curse. But at least it has one very gimmicky option. And that's like the infamous carved pumpkin troll that you can do with friends. Which could be useful in a combat situation, or if you're in like an SMP and you're trying to like get away or steal some dude's loot. The carved pumpkin control could actually be a very gimmicky option. Okay, Curse of Vanishing is kinda... Okay, Curse of Vanishing, it's going on this tier not because it's bad, but like it just literally has no benefits. It's not criminally bad like Bane of Arthropods. That Curse of Vanishing isn't really much of a curse. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of why it's not... I mean, it's better. I'd rather have Curse of Vanishing than Bane of Arthropods, I'm not gonna lie. Because at least Curse of Vanishing doesn't take up a slot for your sword. Because here's the thing, if you get Bane of Arthropods, you can't get Sharpness or Smite. But at least with Curse of Vanishing, you can still have your other good enchants like Sharpness, Looting 3, whatever. Or if you're using Pickaxe or Armor, Proper, Fortune, whatever. Aqua Infinity. Very small niche as well. I mean, it's a bit better of a niche. Sentry makes you breathe in the water for a very long time. It's also Respiration, which I might as well just find that real quick. What's Respiration? I might as well rank it. They're like the same. There it is. So just rank it. It's kind of the same. Can't tell which one's better. This one's technically cheaper, so it's higher. They make you breathe in water longer, which can be useful for raiding like ocean ruins or like an ocean monument. It has a use. Blast Prop. Though in my personal opinion, normal protection is always the best. Blast Prop is actually kind of good. We'll give it that rank. Essentially, you take less damage from explosions. Which is actually... And explosion attacks are actually a lot more common than you think. So like creepers, ghast, like the Ender Dragon, I think has explosion damage. I forgot. Oh yeah, the Wither. That's the most key thing. You take like no damage to the Wither. So like blast props actually, I might put it up here actually. It's tough. It's like in the border. It's a very solid niche. It's actually viable, but in a lot of normal situations, especially for the wither fight. I do play on bedrock, so it might be up here. It's kind of difficult to rank. We'll just put it here for now. Channeling. Okay, technically this is useless, but like it is required for collecting mob heads. Also, just has a. That's fine. Okay, channeling. It is mandatory for mob heads. And mob heads are required for wither skeleton, so technically a very gimmicky niche. They get a charge creeper. Or if you're on bedrock, you could find like the ice spikes biome or snow biome. Use the charge creeper. And you get wither skulls. Guaranteed. Death Strider. Makes you swim faster. Yeah, this is worthless. Because dolphins can do this. And there's also soul sand in the game. Or ice. But swimming fast is not mandatory. It's kind of useless. It does something at least, so it's not criminally terrible. Okay, efficiency is meta defining. You know how slow mining? You know how painful like big projects in your world is without efficiency? I know how long it'll take to like mine for diamonds or like build mob farms. Or like say you messed up something, efficiency can like fix your mistakes quickly. This is a meta defined enchant. Without efficiency, Minecraft would be so much more grindy and tedious. So it's clearly a meta defining enchant. Feather falling. Feather falling is really good. Being able to heavily reduce fall damage is extremely useful. If you're trying to jump down from a high place, or like you're trying to dive down with an elytra, like feather falling is actually really good. It's not meta defining or mandatory, but it's a really good enchant. Fire aspect also goes up here. Being able to cook your food by just swinging your sword is really good. It's a lot less painful than just using a flint and steel then killing them. And you have looting 3, you'll just never have a food problem again. You can save so much coal and wood or whatever smelting it. So it's really good. Fire prop. Fire prop and blast prop kind of go here. It's fire prop prevents fire damage, and that can be incredibly useful in the nether because there's so much lava, fire, and blazes and stuff. I mean, of course, normal protection does the same thing, which I personally think is the best protection, so I'm just going to find that real quick. Where's this protection? Oh, yeah, we'll rank. Okay, we can talk. I can go on a rant. Protection. Meta defining. Imagine fighting the wither without prop armor on bedrock. You're getting cooked. And also prop just makes you like extremely bulky towards everything. Unlike say fire prop and blast prop, which go like in an extreme in one direction. Chin, but like they can't shield you from other things, so like you'll still take, say if you use fire prop, you still take the same damage to a wither as if you just had no enchants on your armor kind of thing, but reduces fire damage. But prop just basically protects you from everything, and there's zero like drawbacks, which is why I always just use normal prop on my armor instead of like the other ones. Then let's talk about the worst. Okay, I thought Beta Arthropods was the worst fucking enchant in the game. Nope, I forgot this fucking thing existed. Why the fuck is projectile protection in the fucking game? This the worst fucking enchant. This is worse than Curse of Vanishing and Bane of Arthropods. This thing is trash. Okay, this sounds good initially, protecting you from projectiles. Isn't there a lot of projectiles in Minecraft? Yes, but the issue is that most of those projectiles are either explosions or fire, which is not protected by projectile protection. Projectile protection only protects you from skeleton arrows, which normal prop can do the same thing, just as good. This is the most trash waste of a slot I've ever seen of an enchant. They need to heavily buff this item to make it just protect you against every projectile in the game. They need to fix projectile protection. Okay, flame. Okay, if I put fire aspect in really good, I guess I put flame in really good too. That's the same thing as fire aspect, but for bows. A projectile that burns things is pretty nice. Sadly, isn't really useful against any boss fights since they're all fire immune. Honestly, one thing they should add is a fire weak boss. Like a boss that like is really difficult, but if you have like fire aspect or a flame bow, you like easy. They should add that in the game. And fortune is meta defining. You know how long it would take to get like a diamond beacon if you didn't have fortune? Imagine collecting a diamond beacon without fortune. Also, fortune just speeds up your process of getting diamonds so much quicker, as well as getting lots of coal. And in 1.17, they buffed fortune to work on things like gold and coal. Also works on things like nether quartz. It's just a really good mining enchant. With efficiency, like you can find so many ores. Like you can get so much redstone, so much coal, diamonds, gold, iron. Like just a really good enchant. And it will just take forever to like get diamonds. And also, you know the netherite upgrade thing? Imagine trying to duplicate your netherite upgrade without fortune. Imagine collecting 7 diamonds multiple times. Like that would suck. Okay, Frostwalker. Okay. Frostwalker is a very, very gimmicky thing. Frostwalker is extremely... It could be okay. It's useful for ocean travel, I guess. I mean, you could just use a boat, but sure, if you don't want to deal with water, Frostwalkers. Also, I guess if you're in like a manhunt, as you saw in my dreams video, he used the Frostwalker boots to like bait his friends into jumping into water, but really it was ice and they died to fall damage. You could do something like that. It's very gimmicky, and I think it's not useful enough to justify. Also, Frostwalker enchants tend to be hella expensive for some reason. And, oh yeah, right, I forgot about this other gimmicky thing. If you give it to a mob like a zombie, you can like easily make them travel through like waters and stuff, which can be useful, but like that's just so niche that like and so specific that that's a very rare use case. Impaling. I mean, I never really used the tridents in combat. Impaling, I think impaling's good. It's as a solid niche. Actually, no, it's actually... Okay, if you use tridents, it's really good. It's basically like sharpness, but for tridents. Okay, looting is S tier. Tier as well. No, not loyalty. Looting. This is another meta-defining one. Extremely useful. At least in Bedrock, it's meta-defining. Because in Bedrock, there's no sleeping edge. Our best way of killing multiple mobs at once is with trident killers. And if you have a looting 3 sword while using a trident killer, you can increase the rates, which is huge. In fact, for mob farms as well as in general, doing things like getting more rods, more everything that when you kill is just extremely useful. More food, more chances for wither skeleton skulls, more blaze rods. What else am I thinking of? More gunpowder. That's really important. Say you don't want to do the long task of building a creeper farm. You could just go out at night and looting 3 creepers and you'll get plenty of gunpowder that way. So looting 3 is, or just looting in general, is just a really good enchant. And it's a welcome addition. Like, if you get a looting sword and a ruined portal on a speed run, you probably getting a world record. Because you literally only have to kill like 2 or 3 blazes to just leave the nether. Not back. It's not useful in survival. It's not good in survival. Which is very situational in survival. But if you're playing like PvP, this is a really good enchant. So I say I put it in the middle. Kind of useless in survival. But if you're playing like PvP, not back is really good. Sending your opponent far back is actually quite nice. Because then they're kind of more of like a hit stun. Or like they can't hit you. So like hitting someone with like a knockback weapon is like an extremely like safe option. Because you can hit them back while they can't hit you. And because they're getting knocked back so far, you can like start using projectiles on them. Things like trident or freaking thing. Loyalty. On my tier list, what the hell happened? Okay. Loyalty. Loyalty. Sure. Honestly, it's the one thing that's keeping tridents viable, honestly. Actually, by technicality, by definition, this is a meta-defining enchant. Without this enchant, tridents are basically useless as a projectile. Because when you throw a trident, you have to manually run and pick it up again. But like with loyalty, you can just throw it back like a boomerang, which is huge. It actually gives the trident a solid use. Not only does 8 damage, plus say you get boosted by impaling, but it can just come back to you now, which is extremely useful. It makes it probably the single best projectile in the game. Other than like a power bow. Lure. Okay, this is a fishing enchant. This is solid. Lure increases your amount of time, decreases the amount of time, and increases the amount of like fish things that you can get while fishing. That's what I meant to say. Which basically increases your rates of fishing, which is huge. You get more enchant books, more enchanted bows, more fishing rods. Like, pretty good. Luck at the sea increases the chances of getting good loot while fishing, which is really solid. Fishing is not something I personally do, but if you get lucky, you can basically cheese the early game with, like, fishing. And there's, like, AFK fish farms as well. So that's really nice. And then mending. About time I talked about mending. This single enchant has changed the entire way you play Minecraft. While normally there's the durability system, where like your item can run low on health, but with mending you can just heal your items endlessly, kind of thing, by just collecting XP. And there's plenty of ways to get XP. You just kill mobs in general, build an XP farm. But XP farms are only get you levels and loot, but like just heal your items in general. Mending can be used on basically every item in the game. Mending can allow you to have basically infinite durability on everything, even your best and most precious loot. No multi-shot. It's the best crossbow enchant, but crossbows in general are kind of flawed in my opinion. They're not good at all. They basically allow you to shoot multiple arrows at once. Interesting. Piercing allows you to go through mobs. It isn't mandatory for a Java achievement, so I'll just put it up here. No, pierce. Yeah, that sounds about right. Power is S tier. Power is the reason why bows are just broken. And if I'm being honest, like without power, bows would kind of not be as good. They'll still be good, but they won't be like crazy. And punch is basically like knockback for bows. So I put knockback here. But arguably it's better. Because while you have to approach your opponent to activate the knockback effect with the sword, with a bow, you could just camp from a distance and activate your knockback effect. Means even a safer option to just throw out. Quick charge. Quick charge is gimmicky. No one really uses quick charge or crossbows in general. Riptide. Okay, this is viable. This is solid for like travel. It's pretty good for travel if you have a trident. Like you can go in the water, throw your trident, and you'll start flying. Pair this with elytra, and you'll travel in no time. Sleeping Edge. I'm a Bedrock player, so I never used it. But in Java farms, like Enderman farms and stuff, Sleeping Edge is actually incredible. So this might be too high for a lot of players in Java, but I'm just going to put it here. Screw it. I don't play Java. I don't know how good it is. I just seen videos. Alright. Sharpness. Meta defining. Imagine trying to fight the Wither without sharpness, which is a normal diamond sword. You're getting cooked. But if you get like sharp 5 or something, you have a little bit more of a chance, you know. Just incredible as an enchant. And also you can put sharpness on things like axes, which is really nice. Okay, kind of useless on Bedrock. But on Java, sharpness axes are actually have a bit more use because of how they work. Silk Touch. This one's tough. Do I put on meta defining? Or do I just place it up here? It is mandatory for a lot of achievements. Basically what Silk Touch does is that sometimes when you mine an item, you don't literally get that item. It turns into like diamonds or like another gold nuggets or whatever. But with Silk Touch, when you mine something, you literally get what it looks like. So if you mine a diamond ore block and you Silk Touch, you literally get a diamond ore block. Kind of thing. And Smite. Smite's really useful actually. It's not as good as Sharpness, but it's actually really good. Kind of underrated. Really good for wither skeletons. It basically does more damage to undead mobs. And there's a lot of undead mobs in this game. So it's actually really good. Keyword, the Wither. The fact that Smite works on the Wither is huge. It'll make the fight so much easier. Because you're just doing so much more damage now. And then there's Soul Speed. Soul Speed has a solid niche. Allows you to run faster on Soul Sand. And considering Soul Sand biomes are massive and they're kind of a part of Nether, they're really useful. Also, if you make like Soul Speed tunnels, you can travel really fast. Which is nice. And then there's Thorns. Thorns. Never use Thorns, really. But it has its use cases, but it has drawbacks. Kinda. Thorns has a use case, but it's like You don't need it. Basically, if someone touches you, you do damage. So basically, you take damage to deal damage. Which could be useful. And it's just here. I don't know how I feel about thorns. Unbreaking's S tier. Because unbreaking plus mending basically means your things are basically never gonna break ever, which is valuable. And yeah, I think I might be done with the tier list. Or recap, this is the S tier. This is the really good tier. These are things that have a solid use case or niche or just kind of good. These ones are not bad, they just very rare cases where you would use these. And then there's the worst enchants of all time. They should never be using in the first place. They're stupid. Goodbye.